Hey guys, welcome back to the Kaiyo cast. I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. We are on episode 20, and wait, haven't you been here already? Brett,
Yeah, don't you remember? I snuck into your home, pointed
you
a gun
stuck
to your
in?
head, and said, "Let's start the
Oh,
show again."
oh, true, true, true,
You better remember.
true. Oh, okay. Brett, we have Brad here again. We're gonna talk about Vision Pro today. So before we go into that,
Mm-hmm.
ready? Okay. Waffles,
Uh-huh.
pancakes, or French toast? What is your go-to?
French toast.
French
French toast
toast?
every time. French
What do you
toast.
put on your
French
French
toast
toast?
every time. Oh God. I like whipped cream, extra whipped cream, and extra calories on top of the whipped cream,
How
and
do you put
and
extra
and and, and,
calories?
I don't know. I just look what's unhealthy. Oh, maybe powdered sugar. That sounds like extra
Oh,
calories. Yeah, let's
yeah.
get some powdered sugar on there. Let's get some butter. Oh, frick. Oh, frick. Oh, let me get some syrup. Oh, let me
Syrup.
go to Canada. Let me go to Canada and be like,
Oh,
hey,
get
you
the
better
good
give me that
syrup.
syrup right now. Put
Yeah.
that on my French toast. But I gotta go to French Canada, otherwise it won't really be French toast. But yeah.
True. Have you ever made French toast? Like at your house? It's pretty.
Mmm. No.
You should
Freaking
try.
lazy.
Okay. You should try to make French toast. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Oh, that's a good idea. All right, I'm up for it. I freaking love French toast. It's so good.
The next Brad goal in life, the next side quest, master French toast, master making French toast,
Spatial cooking. Mmm.
spatial cooking with SadlyItsBradley new cooking show. Oh, I'm so down.
Oh god. Oh frick. Oh frick.
Spatial
OnlyFans subs
cooking
only
show.
for the cooking show.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
So you know we
Absolutely.
talked about fruit last time and salads.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold up. Did you see the comment section from last video? Because someone commented about the watermelon thing. Okay, so for the watermelon thing,
Uh-oh.
you have to tap the watermelon, right? But then there's a specific sound
Oh
signature
frick.
for the watermelon, apparently. That like it's like a deeper sound for the watermelon. And if it's a deeper sound on the watermelon, it's ripe. And it's a sick ass watermelon.
What the flip? We're like freaking dolphins with our echolocation just to figure out what is a good watermelon? What is wrong with life? That's a really good tip though. Thank you, person that said that. That's freaking awesome. I'm gonna literally punch every watermelon I see at the store
Punch
now.
every
Because of
watermelon.
you.
That's watermelon
Mm-hmm.
abuse, bruh.
I mean, I've learned a lot from Gary's mod with watermelons over the years, so
Okay,
we'll see how it
okay.
goes.
So, going into more Vision Pro stuff, you're on the Vision Pro currently with the whole ALVR thing. How was setting that up? Was it like
Yeah.
difficult or?
So you know what? Before I say my experience, let me just like say, so people did not expect Vision Pro to get VR support. Like I think ever. When I look online, people are like, "Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a spatial computer, not a VR
Yeah.
headset." There's no way any of this stuff's ever gonna happen. Dude, it literally took them a week. The open source community took them a week just to get like the bare bones set up for like ALVR to like do Steam VR, PC VR on Vision Pro. And now that we're a month later, they've gotten it to the point where I have literal like finger tracking. I'm not using controllers right now. I can literally use gesture emulation and stuff. It tracks my wrist, it tracks my elbows, and if I really wanted to, I can also add like trackers and like sync the play spaces to do full body tracking and everything. And it has a bunch of features like I can see my hands if I want to, or I can turn that off. The open source ALVR community is freaking wonderful, and they made this experience like to the point where I don't need to really go back to any other headsets. That's how good they made it already. There's a little bit of issues with like color space and stuff still, but again, they're still working on it because a lot of people that are working on it, they care about it. They're all users themselves, and they all want to make like
Make it
the
as good as
best
possible.
experience they can.
Yeah.
And it's so good already. I'm so happy with
It's
what
been a
they've accomplished
month.
here.
A month. And it's
Yep.
crazy good. Didn't you say you sold your monitor?
It's really. Yeah, I don't know. Monitors are for cavemen, dude. I'm done with monitors from now on. Screw that stuff, man.
Yeah, so you're using like you said you've had a lot of hours in Vision Pro already, but like you've been doing like productivity and other work in Vision Pro. Have you cooked with it? What have you done with it? Like, how's the general Vision Pro experience in your opinion? Like, I know a lot of people that usually don't like it are usually not VR users like us, like we talked about, and they put on a big
Yeah,
VR
yeah.
headset that's glass, and they're like, "I'm gonna return this now."
Yeah, like so, you know what? Not even just non-VR users, but like there's also I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, but last time, but like even current VR users were incredibly confused by this product, and like I think it's Apple's crazy, insane marketing at fault with that because like they made people think that this wasn't a VR headset. You would not ever be able to do any VR or anything immersive or anything like that. It was just like AR iPad apps and that. And yes, you can do that. And by the way, I actually think that it's very valuable. But as like someone who's been using VR since like day one, I'm not day one, Rift 5 times, launch day, pre-launch. In fact, I had a prototype. This device has turned VR for me from like a toy to like an actual tool that I want to use all the time. Like kind of like I don't want to bring in the phone conversation, but like you were talking about like cooking. Have I cooked in it? And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's because when I go downstairs to cook, normally I'm holding a phone, like either I'm watching YouTube video or pulling up recipes or whatever. I'm usually
Now you
filming
could
something
play
because I kind
Gordon
of
Ramsay
ADHD.
on YouTube tutorial while cooking your fucking gourmet spaghetti. Okay, it's sick.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's like with the phone, for example, you're limited by the screen space and the screen real estate and everything. You can only do one or the other normally because most phone operating systems are garbage. With the headset, you can do whatever amount you want. I can also enter this whenever I want because there's no Guardian system in the Vision Pro. It's really interesting how it handles it. You are limited by a very small space when you're in immersive mode. Like it's like
Okay.
1.5 meters by 1.5.
Oh,
So
it's
as
not
long
a
as I like,
lot.
it's not a lot. It's not a lot. And once you like start walking out of your zone, it'll start turning into pass through. But the interesting thing I found out about it is it doesn't stop tracking you in VR. So like if I wasn't stationary right now for this podcast, I could literally like walk across my house and you would see me track all the way around the beach
Really?
right now because it just does not stop tracking the volume. Yeah. Yeah, so like it's a really frustrating arbitrary limit that's set by Apple, but it just kind of shows that the tracking technology in the Vision Pro is there. It does a lot of cool stuff, and like as if Apple ever decided, or anyone that's like trying to meet this level of quality in a product in computer vision, release a product that's more maybe focused to what people want from current VR users, it's a good product. I really think it's a fantastic product, even if it's obviously very expensive. But I can talk a lot about my opinions on that
Okay,
for
here's the
sure.
thing though. We can go into that a little later, but I think even though
Yeah.
no, okay, people are like, "Oh, it's $4,000," like, but then you got to think like all the sensors, all the shit in it. Like there's a it's basically a
Yeah.
computer on your face though, like a MacBook. Like there's a computer
Yeah.
processor in there.
Yeah.
There's another processor for tracking. There's sensors, there's other stuff. So $4,000 kind of a little justified.
It's like if you think about it, so people say in the industry that this is like the most complex product that Apple's ever released, and I believe that. Like I think from like the amount of stuff they have to pack into such a small thing that's also on your face, and you have to think more about heat dissipation and everything because again, as you said, they are using like laptop grade chips and everything. They are trying to, basically my point, everyone is trying in XR, not just Apple, everyone's trying to defeat the laws of physics. And I think when you push the price up, that fight against the laws of physics gets way more bearable. Not easier, but more bearable. And I think they did a pretty good job. I think I've always kind of believed that hardware should actually be pushing the boundaries of price because again, it's really hard. Like I think about the Vive. When I got the Vive, I was like, this is amazing back
Yeah.
then. Like it was really good. It was a fun product to use. And then like my honeymoon phase kind of like ran out. And I was
Okay.
like, wait a minute. This product has a ton of problems. Like I can't imagine my dad or my grandfather or anyone like picking this up and like actually using it. They'll just be like, this is a toy, right? This is a toy. It does a lot of things bad. It makes me sick. So there's a lot of things in XR that I feel are like that even today with current products and even the Vision Pro, where it's like I don't feel we've hit that minimum viable product to get like the mass mainstream adoption that everyone's always like praying will happen, because obviously it'll start like sourcing more content and more use cases and everything. Even with Vision Pro, it's the best headset I've ever used for sure, and I still think there's a lot more here that needs to happen.
Yeah, of course, for technology to get better, but for also like once this gets better, once we actually get like micro OLED displays and more budget headsets even, I think that's going to be a huge step for VR. Once that becomes a norm where we get just micro OLEDs in every headset, everything's just going to look beautiful in the future for VR.
Yeah, and so there's some also like, so going back to like the fighting the laws of physics thing, there's been some comparisons online, which are great. It's natural for people to compare headsets. And one of the biggest comparisons is like the Quest 3 optics versus the Vision Pro optics, which the Quest 3 optics are extremely clear, like extremely like
edge-to-edge clarity,
high quality, and they're pretty much to the point where they're so good you can see the problems that the displays have even more so. and now for Vision Pro, it might actually be the opposite, where the displays are so good, but because they're so much smaller and you have to do more magnification to get a bigger FOV, you kind of have the opposite problem where the optics are kind of worse than the display quality.
Or kind of
lackluster. You kind of get in this argument where, right. Like people want, they want the big FOV, they want edge-to-edge clarity, no distortions and everything. And what my feelings on this whole thing is, companies want these headsets to get smaller and like thinner and everything. You need to make these steps today to figure out how you have to do all the hard things now to figure out how to do the even harder things later. And when it comes to Quest Pro and Quest 3 and other products that are using LCD and Pancake, I personally don't believe these larger panels have a huge, they don't have a future for the consumer market. I think these larger panels maybe have a place for like large FOV, enterprise, maybe more enthusiast things. But if you really want to get like mainstream, you need to shrink the displays. You need to shrink the optics to make the headset smaller and more enjoyable for people to wear. And Apple Vision Pro kind of does this, and they do a lot of harder things as well, other than just have micro OLED displays and optics. They do things like they have like a concave lenses, and like they're curved, which usually everyone in the industry knew about curved lenses, the idea of curved lenses, even for the Vive and Oculus days. No one wanted to touch them ever, because they knew if they added these concave curved type lenses, you'll get so many distortions that it's just not worth it. There was only one way to fix that, and the way to fix that was with having really good eye tracking to do something called dynamic distortion correction. So it can see where you're looking, and then it can like sort of change the image before it reaches your eyes from the display to kind of prepare. Yes, we need to eliminate the fringing here by warping it this way and that way, color correction. These are the things everyone will have to do eventually if we want to get to smaller displays and optics. And Apple's already doing it in their first product. And yes, it's very expensive, it's very complex. It might not even be as clear as the lenses in Quest 3 and Quest Pro, but it's still important and visually more enjoyable, in my opinion.
It's a step in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the step that even Meta someday is going to have to make. Like, they will have to make that step.
The thing is, you saw the whole debate with Zuckerberg being like, oh, like, Zuckerberg went on that whole rant video. He's like, oh, the Quest 3 can do a lot of the Vision Pro stuff for cheaper. And then I think everyone can also see in the community that Meta is kind of shifting their perspective to do kind of more of that stuff. And I think Boz even said they're reworking the Meta UI. And then a bunch of other things too. Yeah.
And I think everyone that's frustrated with what Vision Pro is like kind of pushing, and like there's a lot of nervousness. Like, oh my God, things are changing. Does that mean the things I love from VR are gonna go away? And no, it's not. It's really not. It's just gonna be like a subset. In fact, it might even be, as time goes on, pushed even further, because you're starting to get these use cases that's going to push more users into it, and not even just new users, but I think like a more important thing for XR is like getting higher retention rates, because you can sell tons of headsets, and I think we've talked about this before, but like getting those users to come back and want to put the headset on like multiple times per week is probably better for the health of the industry than anything else. And one of the biggest things, I hate to say, but one thing I noticed, so I gave a lot of demos of the headset,
Yeah.
and with Quest 3 actually. Both Quest 3 and the Vision Pro, I gave with a lot of demos to family members, friends, like probably over 20 people. And some of these people I gave demos for like all the VR products I had up
Okay.
until now. Some of them would always get sick in VR.
Motion
games,
sickness.
No matter what. I would
That's
try to give
the
them the most
one
comfortable
thing.
experience.
Yeah. Motion sickness, even for, feel like just any VR user has to get over that at some point. Even experienced VR users I know that are like, oh, I have life shit that just got in the way. I have to quit VRChat and playing VR for 3, 4, 5 months. They come back and then they have motion sickness again. And you got to get over that
Yup.
big hurdle again.
Yeah, and it's a problem that is not easy to solve. Like it's kind of a like something called survivor bias, where a lot of us don't have the problem because we spend so many hours. Like we kind of live in platforms like this. I don't understand anymore. Like like I forgot. But even me. My first day I've ever did VR, it was did I talk about this story?
I don't think so.
I can't remember. I talk about this story a lot. All right, so my first time doing VR was at a private Valve event when they were
Okay.
showing off the Vive before release, and I was literally in the bathroom puking like the entire night because I was just not
Because
used to
of the
VR and like there's a
experience.
lot of things going on with VR
Yeah.
because of all the experience. It was like 5 or 6 hours straight of different VR games that they just had me try and give my feedback on. I have great memories for it, and I'm thankful I got to do it, but there was still that element where even my first time, I'm 8 years later, I'm obviously very into VR. I have that survivor bias now, where my first day I was puking in the freaking bathroom of this Valve event, this freaking private Valve event. It's like,
Yeah.
it's.
I mean, I'd
it's-
say
it's
that's a
something
little
that
bit
I
more
think
one of the extreme
makes-
cases of motion sickness. I feel like the first
Yeah.
first VR stuff, like around like 10 years ago,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those roller coaster simulations and all the other VR crap that,
Oh, God,
oh
yeah,
my God,
yeah.
those were horrible. I hated those.
No, they're still. I think those things are still really bad. Like sometimes you see them pop up, and I'm like, how the heck do these still exist? But, yeah, I have very strong opinions about this stuff. The more I go on, because it's like I'm. Before I go into that, but like, what I was saying, oh yeah, all the people I demoed Quest 3, Vision Pro recently, and I had them try out the mixed reality stuff more than the VR stuff. Those same people that would get sick for VR ended up not getting sick for the mixed reality stuff. So like
Okay.
all those people
Yeah.
that like could not get into wearing a headset, those people will at least be able to adopt mixed reality if they find it interesting enough and
Yeah,
valuable
yeah.
to them. And every mixed reality headset is still a VR headset. It will still do VR. So it's like,
Yeah.
again, getting past
So you can get into
those
VR
survivor
later
bias
if you're
curves
not
and
getting
everything.
motion sick by mixed reality. Get into mixed reality first as like a step of like just like easy waters thing, and then get into
Gateway
VR
drug.
later. Yeah.
Gateway drug.
There's always that
But
gateway
yeah,
drug.
I really.
There's always for anything, right? Like VRChat for some people, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's just like a social game. Like I'm just gonna try this game. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna try this before like Half-Life or everything else, and then they get addicted, and then they're like, oh shit, I'm stuck here now. I gotta play VR. It's like,
I'm very, what's the word? I guess I'm very elitist in how I feel about like VR, like immersive content like VRChat. And I'm not much of a VR gamer these days, but like even if I was a VR gamer, I never liked where that side was going when it comes to standalone compute and doing everything in like a tiny mobile chip, because I started knowing that you need as much compute as you can. You had to hit these frame rate targets to make people not sick. You had to do all these things to make the experience valuable for people. And then there was this transition where we went to standalone because obviously they wanted to get more people into VR, and that makes sense. Like it removes a ton of barriers. But for me, I'm always in my room doing this. I'm never going out in public and like playing a Beat Saber game. That was very foreign to me. So sacrificing a lot of that stuff and just for that like use case didn't make sense. But the spatial computing use case, the idea of like taking your entire like library of like apps you already use on a daily basis and having as many of those apps running at once in like your spatial space, like wherever you want, that's where I think this standalone thing starts to make a little bit more sense. And again, I could still key into my PC and then do this for like right now, and because even right now, like dude, we're getting to like 4K per eye displays, right? And like when you get to rendering fully 3D content in games, like even the M2 chip will struggle with that, right? Like, but when it comes to rendering a bunch of like windows and volumes and AR objects in like just a pass-through view, like the pass-through basically being like your desktop on your PC, that's way more manageable and like an actual use case that makes way more sense to me in this like take XR where you go with you. So
Yeah, it's very interesting, but going back to like more beginners getting the VR and all that, and kind of like really heavy HMDs. Okay, without the top strap on the Vision Pro, it does need. Okay, it does need. A lot of people were a lot of there was that fix in like what a week or two. People were like, "Oh guys, what if we put the dual knit band on top, 3D printed? Yo guys, let's go. That's a fix. Like we."
Yeah, that is. I think there's two terrible things that Apple did with this product, and that is probably the major one for me. Is so many companies in the tech sphere and like the mass consumer market sphere, they are so obsessed with the design and the way things look that they are willing to sacrifice comfort.
It looks so pretty. But what about the comfort?
It does. Yeah, exactly. So even right now, like first of all, to give them some credit before I bash them to hell for this, the little like knit band that they call the solo knit band that you see in all the marketing or whatever, they definitely put a lot of work into that. Like it's a very comfortable material. It's actually super soft and everything. By itself, though, one of the most uncomfortable HMDs I've ever worn, because again, it does not hold it on my head at all, which is insanity to me, because you're buying a $3,500 plus product and you have to change this. You have to do something to it to make it comfortable. And they did include another strap. I know people are gonna say they included another strap for people. That strap is like a little dinky.
Rinky dinky.
It looks like an Apple Watch strap.
Okay, no. Here. I'm gonna describe it for you. I got you. That extra strap. It does help. Marquez, I'm pointing at you with this one, okay? You said it was comfortable. I'm pointing right at you. Okay. It's good for a little bit, maybe an hour or two. But then that thing is the same thing as the fucking Quest 3, fucking Quest 2. That shit is a thong, bro. It's so dog shit. Bro, oh my.
Yeah. I could totally, absolutely. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's thin. It doesn't, actually, I couldn't even put it on I actually found it less comfortable on my head than the single strap, which is crazy, because it wasn't giving the back of my head any support, because it's like a super thin thing on the back of my head, and you're still holding 650 grams on the front here, and it's like I ended up doing the mod you were kind of talking about, where I bought another one of those super soft knit bands.
$100, by the way. $100.
It's $100. Yeah, it's $100 freaking dollars. Ridiculous. And I routed it on the top of my head side by side. And once I did that, that's when I was able to like wear this thing for like 6+ hours a day. It makes me so mad when companies don't include a top, like have a good now I have to say good top strap, because now Apple did include a top strap, but it's a bad
okay
one,
yeah
so
okay
good.
They took a step, but it was not a good one. Okay Brad, they're taking steps, the companies, right? They're adding the top strap, but add a good one next time. You added one, make it better.
And people are like, oh, maybe. I'm still not even sure if any VR headset will be able to get away without having any top strap, because even the Bigscreen Beyond, I gave them a ton of hell in the prototyping phase that it wasn't comfortable. Like they were advertising it back then, like, yeah, you can wear this thing for hours and hours and hours, but
because it's so light.
The top of my ears and exactly, and it is light. It's a very light head, like what? It's like 150 grams or something.
Yeah, maybe not even. Yeah, maybe even lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, and even with that, I still wanted a top strap for that headset. So like, this idea that we are going to be able to get rid of it, unless someone comes up with a genius design that we're not thinking of, no one's really done. The other option, I should be fair, there is that other option, the Halo strap, like Quest Pro.
I mean, yeah, PSVR 2, some of those ones. Yeah, like the Halo.
Yeah, PSVR 2. Yeah, and that's my think the Quest 3 is actually just another better product than Quest Pro because they don't force you into one like comfort design, right? You can switch it out and you can swap it. And I see people with the Bobo.
Oh yeah,
basically turns the Quest 3 into a Halo strap.
Speaking of the Quest 3, right? That new Bobo VR S3 Super Strap, that Halo with the fan on top. Oh, that thing's cool.
Yeah.
And it's pretty comfortable, I've heard.
Yeah, I have it. They sent me one. I think if people like Halo straps and they work for their head, it's a good product. But for me, Halo straps just don't work.
Don't vibe with you? They don't vibe with you?
They don't vibe with me. I think something with my forehead, I guess. Whenever something is on my forehead for a certain period of time, I start getting headaches more than any other pressure point on my head. So I couldn't use the Quest Pro for that reason. I even had this problem a little bit with PSVR 2 actually, and yeah, I much prefer the horrors that I'm doing with this and like.
Oh, you want to speak of horrors? Oh, we're speaking of horrors now. Okay, you know what I'm about. Speaking of top straps, the Quest 1 is an amazing device. I will put an image in post-production of this fucking atrocity I've built, okay?
What the hell? Oh my god!
This motherfucker and a bunch of other people have said this thing looks like a pipe bomb, okay? Okay.
It is a pipe bomb.
Okay, speaking of atrocities, I have 3 head straps on my Quest 1. 3! I had to get 3 head straps to make this thing comfortable and balance out the fucking heavy of a goddamn HMD. Okay, I have 2 Quest Pro head straps on there. Two.
Oh my.
Like, it's great. I made it work.
The pipe bomb is real.
Yeah, but like, that's the same thing of like, no stock headset is comfortable out of the box. I had to mod a Quest 1 to hell and back to make this thing comfortable.
Have you ever tried on an Index out of curiosity?
I have. It's actually really comfortable and it balances out the 2 pounds of weight really well. I'm not even, pretty good.
That literally literally still, of all the headsets I put on, like, not excluding Beyond, I think that's in its own, that's not fair. But like, any normal size HMD, I think the Index was always
the Index was the only one that was super ungodfully comfortable out of the box. Like, even I tried. Yeah. Like, it's just great. Very well balanced.
I think a testament to that is like, you try to search for third-party aftermarket Index straps, there's like none.
Like none at all. Bothered. Yeah, like no one's even bothered. Like Kiwi hasn't even bothered. Like the god of fucking Jesus Christ, holy God accessories. Kiwi hasn't even made one.
Yeah, and it's not like the Index didn't sell a bunch. Like, it sold more than Quest Pro, and there's still Quest Pro accessories. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm like how I'm kind of known a little bit of the person of like, it's like, hey, headsets dog shit. Yo, I know how to customize that for you. Yo, customize any VR headset. Yo, it's possible. Okay, like, okay, the next project. I'm gonna give you guys a little next project. I'm gonna get a Quest 3. Okay. And you get the good 110 FOV. No, I'm gonna push 130. Okay, I'm gonna do the fucking holy shit most cursed Quest 3 ever. Yo, leave it to me. I got this.
It's like people always like to take off the facial interface and like smush headsets to their face no matter what.
I've done that with the Quest 1.
Oh,
Brad, I have technical facial interface with this thing. This is the most cursed thing. I'm going to get flamed for this. I tore up a Bobo VR head strap. You know the foam? I cut the foam off of it.
Yeah.
That thing is my face cover, okay? And then I took some other face covers, I cut them, and I put them on the fucking headset by duct taping, gluing. I didn't hot glue bad, okay? This thing is being held together by duct tape and hopes and dreams, okay? It's bad.
I'll just say it again, pipe bomb.
But it works,
you're a pipe,
and it's good.
I believe you. Don't worry.
I call my creation the Walmart Valve Index.
That pains me, but you do. No, I'm just kidding. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Oh, they massacred my boy. What did you do to the Quest 1? It was an atrocity. Every person I've showed it to has said that. How could you massacre my boy like that? What did you do to it?
Actually, I'm curious. Like, how's the Quest 3 like? Do you only use it for this? Like, really? Like, mostly just VRChat through a PC?
For my VR headsets and like the Quest and like some of the headsets I use, for standalone stuff, I mean, I put Beat Saber. I mean, a bunch of like games on it. But other than that, like, I'm gonna out myself. The only game I actually regularly really play on Steam is VRChat. My Steam library is sad. Okay, okay. I said it. Oh, I said okay.
Dude, I don't know. I think, like, genuinely, I think that is a lot of people in VR. Like, honestly, what you just said is, like, probably 99% of people in VR right now. So, like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, that's just kind of the reality of the market. And it's like, who knows what it means for the future, but right now, it's just the way it is. And I think it's good for, because everyone that's in VR and, like us, we're gonna, in 20 years, when this technology finally gets like past the enthusiasts, we're gonna look back at these days and we're gonna be like,
yo, we were there first.
Really
Let's go, yo, guys,
yeah,
we were here. We were here.
Yeah, that too. Like these are really special times still. Like there's nothing to be ashamed of for how we use VR in the current age, because it goes with what I was kind of saying earlier. It's like, there's a lot still that this technology needs to prove.
Before we can go full Ready Player One.
Willing to strap
it needs to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It does. So it's like, nothing wrong with saying that. It's just the reality. And like, people, I feel like people in the community are very afraid to say it. Like, for sure. But like, these companies that are selling us headsets and losing a ton of money on headsets and going out of business and trying to compete in the XR market, they have the real statistics and they're seeing like where things are at. And it's very healthy to be honest about these things. Like, I love VRChat. I love getting a VR headset. I'm totally fine with spending $4,000 and spending a lot of time in VRChat.
Okay.
I ask a lot of people who spend
yep.
in VRChat.
I know a lot of people that
like,
sacrifice
give me
a
a
lot
reason
to buy a Vision Pro.
Yeah,
we're gonna out you.
Yeah.
This motherfucker sacrificed his fucking car to buy the Vision Pro. You, why'd you gotta do my boy like that? You sacrificed your car.
Yeah. Look, there was more to that than just the Vision Pro. I just happened to have to sell my car during the same time as the Vision Pro came out. Causation is not correlation or whatever. And it's fine. And
Didn't you say as a joke?
That was by choice.
Did you say as a joke that like, oh yeah, if I were to, I was there when you were gonna buy it, when you were staying up for pre-orders. We were in the pug. You're like, I have to like sacrifice maybe a month's worth of food and maybe some other stuff to buy this headset, but it's worth it, and I will still buy it for a meme.
Yeah. I think so okay, obviously you can go back to our last video and you can tell I was really excited for this product.
Yeah,
right?
you were very excited.
I was very visibly excited. And I think it's been more than a month now, actually.
Yeah, a little over a month.
Almost 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, you can get past the honeymoon phase pretty fast in like that period of time. And for me, I definitely have, because I'm actually preparing I always take a month to do a review of hardware, and I'm working on it right now. This week, I'm hoping to get it out, and this whole week I have to think about what I'm going to say and like the critical parts of it. And I'm going to say a lot of critical things about it, but like at the end of the day, do I regret spending this amount of money on the product for myself and like what it's a lot. But like for me, I'm actually, as a consumer as well as like obviously like someone who does this as a job and like whatever, I'm very happy with this product for me. Like I feel like it's done a lot of things that I wanted.
Yeah, and like we've talked about a little
for a while,
and kind of mentioned, right, is for XR and just a bunch of other stuff, right? It does a lot that other headsets have not done yet. It, for what it is and for the technology that's thrown into it and what it does now, and it's only going to get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does it very well.
Yeah.
The interface is nice. The whole
Yeah.
it's great and it's very seamless. It's pretty cool.
I mean, we have, and it's already made its mark. I think. Like I think so. There's been a lot of news coming out of the past few weeks where obviously there's still Samsung and Google. Anything about, I don't know if you heard about that, but like Google asked Meta if Meta would like it was like they asked Meta if they would put the new Google Android XR stuff onto the Meta platform.
Really?
Which was this whole weird thing. Yeah. Meta said no. They're like, no, we won't do that. Like, we've been building this out ourselves. How dare you ask us that? But like, so we have Samsung and Google. They're doing their own thing, and it's gonna be very aligned with what Apple's doing for sure. It's gonna be the Android version of the Vision Pro. And then we also have news talking about how LG, Mark Zuckerberg just visited Korea, South Korea, like last week, to basically finalize plans with the CEO of LG. Because LG and Meta are going to be releasing around a $2,000 headset next year.
Yeah, no, that was the whole thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like, you know, Meta's done a Quest Pro 1. It didn't do so well, but now they're doing it again, despite the fact the first one didn't so well. And so I think there is a market for like this thing. And again, I wanted the high-end market to exist. For like, it's been literally buy a Quest or a 5-year-old Index, but we're starting to get like
that's what it's
tiers
been
of
for
products.
so long now.
It's been so long.
It's been years.
Torturing me.
It's been
It's
years.
been literally torturing me.
No,
Oh my
literally
God, it's literally been
4
torturing
years
me, but
now, right? Even the Varos, right? I
Yeah.
feel like every high-end market
Yeah.
for VR has just been like good or just okay. Like there's nothing been outstanding or something outstanding.
I'm on the belief that we are fighting the laws of physics harder than any other technology right now is, and you just can't do that on a low bill of materials, low budget, and everything. And if we have this, if this works out, that this high-end market, even if you can't afford the high-end stuff, if this high-end market does do well with a certain level of XR consumers, all those technologies that do well will start getting more fabs, more mass production, all those components that make the Apple Vision Pro and their competitors better, that'll all come down to
It's
the
all going to
Quest
trickle
products,
down
like the Quest
eventually.
4, the Quest
Yeah.
5. Yeah, and that's what we need. It's what we need. It's just the way it is, unfortunately.
I mean, everyone's like, oh, Apple's in the game now. The whole game's going to change. And you know how we were kind of talking about, and everyone even threw, and everyone was like, if the whole Apple Vision Pro, the whole of that product kind of flopped in a way, VR would have took a pretty decent hit. I remember we were all talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Based on like news from analysts and like things I hear as well is in its first month, Vision Pro has actually exceeded Apple's expectations for sales, which is pretty good. Return rate's not that high as well, which is a good sign. So there are people outside the XR circle who are spending $4,000. Actually, this is something notable, by the way. And this, I think this kind of encapsulates what like who this product is for, and like starting the very baby steps to getting people outside of our circle into buying headsets. So I said earlier I gave a bunch of people demos, and it's not the first time I gave people demos of headsets. This one person in particular, my uncle, he's very techie, very techie guy, works multi-monitor setup, crazy. He's like 6 monitors for his job.
Can I say the meme? Can I say the meme?
Yeah,
3 consoles, fucking 4,000 monitors, fucking.
That's basically him. Like he will spend a ton of money on theater project. Like he's got a lot of money. He's obviously like very well, but he'll spend money on theater projectors, making his house an incredible tech palace for himself. And this VR, AR thing, all the headsets I've shown to him, he's never cared about them at all. None of them were at that quality level where he thought, that's interesting for me, or I can use this. I gave him a demo of Vision Pro.
Changed
he
his
ordered
mind?
one that night.
Let's go!
Like that kind of consumer is totally different than the people right now.
I mean,
think most of
true.
the people in XR. And it's the first step to getting like normal everyday
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
like value this technology, see usage out of it.
It
So
impressed a lot of people.
these steps are important. There's a couple of comments like the biggest thing is like make it good before you make it cheap. Is really like kind of how I feel
Yeah.
about it, right?
I mean, I feel like that's such something for everything though. It's like make it expensive,
It
put everything into it, like see how good it can get, then make it good and
Yeah.
cheap next.
Yeah. And again, that does not mean the Quest products are bad products. I reviewed the Quest 3. I said it was like a good product. But as I said, even about the Vision Pro, outside of our circle, even the Vision Pro is still not at that level I would call usable for everyone, that
Everyone.
would pick up a phone or use a monitor
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So valuable that we make these
It's
steps
very
right now.
valuable, but also
Right.
like where the Vision Pro has showed us that we could probably get is scary to me, right? Because like holy shit, Brad. Imagine we won't need phones. We can just text in headsets. We can call in headsets. It's like holy shit, guys. We don't need a phone in
yeah.
like 10 years. Like yo.
It's true. You know, like how I don't know if you have an iPhone or whatever, but I think all of them have it. But it's like they have screen time where like they track your
Yeah.
usage to kind of like give you hints like maybe you're using your phone too much. You should stop that. Since I got Vision Pro, my chart went like because all the stuff I would do normally on my phone, I'm just
You
putting
just
on
do it in the
and doing
headset.
it in my
Yeah.
headset when I'm at home. Yeah, like it's that. Yeah, it's nice to have that, and I think that's where like the Apple ecosystem benefits people that have an iPhone, and like when the Samsung Google thing comes in, people are in that ecosystem are just gonna be just as happy doing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
for what they're used to.
And the more
So,
people that get
yeah.
into this market, I feel it's great. Like Google, Samsung, LG, even like
Oh,
working
yeah.
with Meta. Any big company that's trying to get into this market is good. Competition's good. We need competition.
Absolutely. Yep. And maybe that'll make freaking Valve confident enough to come back.
One sec. We gotta talk about all the furries that made the Valve
furries.
Prism. Yo, we fucking need that. Yo, where is it, Valve? Where's the Valve Prism? Yo, give it to us right now.
Oh, jeez. I know, dude. The furry that was mainly responsible for that, they absolutely loved getting a reaction out of me in particular about that. Like, I
Did you
saw
fall
you,
for
don't
it?
worry, I
Who
saw you
fell
the
for
whole
it? Did
time.
you fall for it? So much people fell for it.
I did not fall for it because my stance was if something was coming out, I would have known. Like with how
Out of
obsessed I
any
am about
okay,
this stuff.
out of anyone that would have known, it would have probably been you.
Yeah, and I was not confident at all. And when it finally came out, I was like, yeah, nah. Good, but it was fun to like. It was
It tricked a
actually
decent amount of people though.
really sad. Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually kind of sad because a lot of people got really excited. I had a ton of DMs that day. A lot of
Oh,
people asking me
no.
if this is real.
Like your
And
DMs just blow up.
every
It's
time
like,
I
Brad,
told these
is this
people-
real? Guys, like I'm pretty sure Thrill and every VR creator was getting spammed. It's like,
Oh my
guys, is
God.
this real? It's like, is this actually? Is it
Yeah.
not cope? Like,
Yeah, I had so many people message me, and when I told a lot of these people no. A good amount of them were genuinely depressed from that. So like, haha, you made people really sad. Okay.
I mean, it was a cool
But, yeah.
meme, but like it kind of just got everyone more
It was
sad.
well-
Yeah.
It was honestly really well done though. Like even the whole model that they made for the
Yeah, yeah.
industrial design, it actually did seem like something that could exist. Like
Even
from, like,
Thrill
an
said
actual
in his most
headset.
recent video, right? He's like, guys, we're throwing this design at Valve. Just produce this and we'll be happy, please.
It was a very well. I had to. Furries are like. It's too powerful sometimes, you know.
They're
Like,
so smart.
They're capable.
How
of
did they
so
do
much.
that?
They're capable of so much, and even when they just do like a haha funny prank, like it's scary how
It
good it could
was
be.
really
Like,
scary
wow,
on how
my
talented they are, Brad. Not just with building
Looking at
fursuits
you.
and a bunch of other stuff.
goodness. Yeah. Sorry, I
Brad.
was pointing at a furry off screen.
Furry!
Noob.
Vision Pro, I've tried the demo and just off the demo and some other stuff that I tried because I went to
Yeah.
someone's house to try the Vision Pro to get more time with it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I
cool.
think it's an amazing product. It blew me out of the water. I'll be honest, it surprised me. I use VR a lot. From someone that uses VR and a lot of different HMDs that tries a lot of stuff and just mods the hell out of VR headsets and is like, let's make this better because it's uncomfortable. I'm always like, I'm always the comfort person. Like, this fucking Quest 1 is the definition of a pipe bomb, but holy crap, is it comfortable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, first hour, dual knit band, just the dual knit band. It was comfortable.
Yeah.
After an hour, you could feel it weighing down.
You feel it.
You could feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, comfort is it's how do you actually speaking of comfort, this kind of relates to comfort, but were you seated, standing during this, like the whole time?
Seated
or?
and standing, walking around, trying to like just test everything while I had time with it.
When you were standing and walking around, you had the battery in your pocket, I assume?
Yeah, just in a pocket.
Did it bother you? Like at
No,
all?
not at all. Do you know why it didn't bother me? I'm the definition of scuffed. When I had a Harator X wireless version, the thing has one USB port on it. I've tried putting 20,000 milliamp battery packs in my pocket already and charged that bitch. I've tried this before, okay? You don't think I'm used to batteries in my pocket?
Oh man, fair point. But I don't feel. Yeah, I feel the battery is not a big deal for me either, and I literally walk across my whole house all the time with it. So it's I'm willing to deal with the battery if it means like getting that level of processing power and capability.
Yeah.
So
Also, speaking of batteries in the pocket and not the HMD, we have to do that for every future standalone headset, please.
Yeah.
Meta, keep the battery outside of the HMD. It's better, okay? It's easier to swap out. We don't got to be jerry-rig everything. Fucking holy shit, we got to remove the battery. We got to put a new one in.
and like, also, there might be a future, I don't know if anytime soon, but like, there might be a time where we need more processing in the headsets, and if we ever remove some of the weight off the headset, we might want to just put some of that processing down there in the little puck in our pocket if we can. So that's something we might need to do someday. So like getting users accustomed to it now is kind of,
better. But so first steps for future VR, I think is most important is get the battery outside of standalone HMDs. Slowly start incorporating over the next 5 to 10 years micro OLED displays and headsets. Better controllers, like more standalone track controllers. What we want probably would be, if we were still use controllers, supposedly, controllers that could self-track, probably with the customization of, you could customize the controller with touchpads or thumbstick, whichever one you want. It has that customization. When you buy it, it's like touchpad, thumbstick, you could pick which one you want. And it's self-tracked, and it has hand tracking. That would be amazing.
Did you see that video where I love the Quest Pro controllers like a lot. They're kind of they're
Except
like
for the
how I want every
software.
VR controller to be.
Meta, please fix.
Except for the software.
Please fix the software. Please, I really love them.
Yeah,
Please fix the software.
I know. Yeah, they're like hardware wise and like computer vision wise, when they're working, they're like the coolest controllers like ever, just from that standpoint of
Speaking
being
of
able
that,
to do what they do.
I can see Meta doing that, or another company doing that. So probably in the next maybe 5 years, they'll have, when you buy probable like separate controllers, they'll have like an option, right, to do like, oh, you could pick a thumbstick, or you could pick a touchpad, or you could have like, you could add finger tracking for like $25 or something. And it's like, it doesn't come with the stock controller, but you could add it on, and it's like,
Yeah, there's that one thing. What is it called? It's like, it's the DiverX people are making the add-on for Quest controllers to have finger tracking like Index.
Yeah, I've seen
it's
that.
like Contact. Something, but
You said you like the
cool
DiverX stuff
project.
to an extent.
I do think I've had some interesting opinion changes since
Okay.
we talked about that, but I think I was saying last time, I've never been a believer of gloves for XR. Every gloves I've tried, they've been really not good, like, to put it lightly. DiverX gloves were actually pretty good. They were very enjoyable to use. They actually worked. The software experience was also quite polished, surprisingly, which is crazy because a lot of those, smaller companies, they usually make really crappy software. But this software is actually better than
Speaking
a
of
lot of
Vive,
stuff
right?
Vive puts out.
We're just talking about Vive, right?
Yeah.
The Vive
Yeah,
Ultimate Trackers.
yeah,
Holy,
yeah,
bro! Oh, I've
yeah.
heard so much complaints already,
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah, I still haven't even, dude. I still haven't tried them since they released the PC beta. I think I was supposed to, but I got. Anyway, DirectX very like they did what they had to do. They did. It's expensive still. Like it's like they're like $500, but
500
they were good gloves.
That's a lot.
Yeah, $500. They're expensive. Yeah, they are expensive. But that's the thing is like when I was thinking about it more as time went on, especially because right now I'm using the Vision Pro. No controllers right now. I'm just using the hand
pretty
and finger
good.
tracking.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty. It would be better if VRChat supported SteamVR skeletal input.
Please.
Because if I'm in like
Please.
Half-Life Alyx or something.
Please support it, please.
Honestly, it's so frustrating actually because so many products would
Hold
actually
up,
benefit
hold
from
up,
that.
Brad. I
other
got
than
this.
just
I
but,
got
like,
this. I got.
yeah,
VR shower.
yeah.
Yo, Tupper. Yo, if anyone sees this, got Slaz. Slaz, Tupper. Yo, we gotta get that supported, please, please.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's really so sad because like in Half-Life Alyx, when I'm doing the Vision Pro, it tracks my fingers super high precision, and even like the spreading, the spreading, and,
Right,
like, putting
in
fingers
Alyx?
apart. It works perfectly in Alyx. Can't do that here because Alyx supports skeletal input. This doesn't, so I have to emulate the way VRChat handles index controllers in here, which has never been the most fluid thing. And I could do this whole OSC update, but mess.
So, kind of going back into the whole setup for Vision Pro, the whole like ALVR stuff. Was that complicated to set up or no? Like, is it like how does that
right
work?
Now so let's start with ALVR in general. I don't know if you ever used it on Quest, but I definitely feel ALVR is a power user tool, right? Like, it's not user friendly, I would argue. Like, you open ALVR and you're like, that is 1,000 settings. Which ones do I need to tweak? Like,
Is it like the Premiere
it's really
Pro?
like that, but
It's like the Premiere Pro experience. It's like, oh my god, guys, we have a professional grade software. You don't know what the hell you're doing? You better know what the hell you're doing. We're chucking you in. You better know what the hell you're doing.
I actually helped someone. I think it was the moderator of the Half-Life Reddit, which surprisingly they bought Vision Pro and they love it, which is that's not something I would not connect those two things together in my life. But anyway, I ended up helping them set up ALVR, and I realized how hard it was for this person who doesn't really do this kind of power user software very often. I like screenshotted every single page, like scroll down, screenshot. I took like probably 5 or 6 screenshots just so they can have a visibly good experience in Vision Pro with ALVR, because it's that kind of program. It's open source. People add features to it all the time. It's very fluid.
Always stuff being added to it.
It's not like Steam Link or Virtual Desktop. Yeah, it's not like Steam Link or Virtual Desktop where you click and you just go and like things are pretty much decided for you. Now another problem with the Vision Pro's ALVR, I think they're fixing this, but right now you have to compile it yourself with Xcode and stuff. So that's kind of a big barrier to entry for a lot of people. But from what I understand, they're working on making basically a test flight version of ALVR, which is basically like App Lab for that market. And I actually do think that they would be able to get it on the store, because something I've been surprised about, because I don't really ever... So I have an iPhone. I never really get stuff on the App Store except for like Discord, right, and Twitter, and like just a few apps
like
I
the
actually
basic
use on
apps
my
that
phone.
we need.
YouTube. Yeah, I never like browse through all the different apps that Apple puts on their store, or allow people to put on their store. But I've been pretty shocked by how lenient Apple has let some of these like services that allow you to stream your PC and like everything to the headset and whatever. They feel almost a bit more open than Meta in that regard. They even started letting cloud services.
Really?
That you could download in Vision Pro. Yeah, which is not something I would have expected from an Apple product, because that is like their whole thing is keep people in the ecosystem, get them buying software in the ecosystem. Very shocking that they'd be like, hey, you have a cloud service, you put it on here, let the users buy stuff on the cloud service and do that. Whereas today, to kind of contrast that, I don't know if you heard the news, but have you heard of Pluto Sphere? Have you ever heard of that application?
I have not. What is that?
So Pluto Sphere is a cloud VR service. So people who don't have a PC, they were to download Pluto Sphere and pay like per hour to have access to basically a very, very powerful computer on the cloud.
Oh,
to
I've heard about
do
that. I've heard
PC
about some
VR
people do
download.
that. I've heard about it.
Yeah,
I've never tried it.
I never really, I never tried it because I don't really have the reason to. I have a PC, but like I do know a few people who used it, and they announced today that they're shutting down because Meta would never let them on their store, so they were never able to like grow the user base.
Yeah.
To get people to do that. So like, yeah, that's pretty unfortunate, and I don't know, like. Yeah, very sad. Rest in peace, Pluto Sphere. I know a lot of people enjoyed you, even if it's a small number of people. Still,
Okay, we're
access
talking
for people
about this.
to do
We're
things
talking.
like this.
We're talking. Same
Oh,
with
sorry.
Echo. Same with Echo VR. What the fuck, guy? Yo, there was still a players, but yo, what the? Come on, man.
That was more shocking, I think, because that player base was still like in what 10,000 plus
10
users, which
10,000, over
doesn't sound
10,000.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound a lot to like the overall gaming sphere, but for like VR, that is still a pretty active
That's a big
user base.
chunk.
Like I am still.
Yeah.
That is a big chunk. I'm still shocked that they
Went through with that.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like that's. I don't know. That's still shocking. Yeah, for sure.
Rest in peace,
But
Echo.
at
It was a
least
good
the
game.
Gorilla Tag developers.
Rest in peace.
At least the Gorilla Tag developers are like big fans of the game, and they're trying to rebuild it, I guess, in like their own version. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Or like I know a
good
bunch
for
of other
them.
people are
I hope
trying to
that
do
works out.
something.
I know we were talking about like getting into the mainstream audience and stuff earlier, but like there's still a problem with some of these big companies today where like some of these apps do give value to people, their current user base, their current customers, and like it seems like you shouldn't just abandon those users so fast, right? To reach different goals. Like there should be a more of a balance there, which is
Well, no, and also the
Yeah.
whole argument and the whole battle of like all these big companies want to hop on this because it's like, oh, we want to be the biggest company for VR. No, we want to be the biggest company. No, we do. It's like it's this whole race. And do you know what that race reminds me of? It reminds me of, yo, guys, who's gonna get the space first, guys? Holy shit, who's gonna get to the moon first, guys? It's the same thing for VR right now. It's like, who's gonna get all the VR crap first?
There was something I was going to say in my Vision Pro review that's kind of related to what you just said, and it was basically those previous headsets took things into orbit, right?
Yeah.
Which was a big step, and it was very valuable. I think the Vision Pro and headsets like that are going to take us to the moon, but even after we got to the moon, regular people didn't all live on the moon right after that point.
Yeah, we got to get
still don't
past
live
it.
on
We
the
got to go
moon.
Mars, and we got to go further beyond,
Right,
and then we got to go
so-
even further beyond.
It's like there's a lot of anti-competitive practices that some companies do in this industry, and it's really kind of too small to do that right now. It's really too small, and they're thinking of a lot of these companies are thinking about when we're all living on Mars, when we still only just reached the moon, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or like the whole like what is it like the really off topic, but like the whole like Mars missions. Like it's like, oh guys, we're gonna live on Mars in like 20 years, guys. Like holy shit, like yo, like Mars. Like I'm not sure if that's even gonna happen in 20 years. That seems a little soon, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yo, what are we trying to create?
We
Yo,
can't
Brad?
even make a freaking good VR headset. And
How are we getting to Mars?
What are you
Yeah.
crazy? Dude,
Yo, it's like guys, you want to live on Mars like actual society? Yo, make a good VR HMD first. What the?
Yeah, honestly. I am sad. Speaking of this, there is one competitor I wish existed, or like, I'm very disappointed in Microsoft actually. So even though I give them crap all the time on Twitter, I freaking hate Windows, but I can't like hide the fact
Windows
that
mixed
Windows is a very
reality?
successful platform. I was actually going a step further actually. HoloLens. HoloLens is all this stuff with spatial computing.
Okay.
HoloLens did it. Like, if you ever try on a HoloLens, it's basically all the concepts of spatial computing, but their problem was they were obsessed with optical AR, like the see-through AR stuff, like AR glasses, but in a helmet form factor, which those things suck even more than VR headsets. I really am sad that Microsoft let go like pretty much their entire XR team, because I think Microsoft would be one of the companies that could do very well if they did like an Apple Vision Pro-esque headset. Like they had a lot of great talent to do it, and like I think they have the platform and stuff to, but Microsoft's it's not happening because they fired everyone. So yeah, sad.
Okay, I'm gonna be the one to say this. I think I mentioned this a little bit in the last episode. Zuckerberg really missed out when Palmer Luckey left. Like, that's their loss. Yeah, like Godfather of VR. Like, yeah, no, that's crazy, man.
I
Like,
definitely would prefer him working in VR still than military drones. I think that's
yeah,
kind of
no,
a
that's
waste of
crazy. Okay, like
efforts.
he created murder headset.
Yeah.
Yo, yo, Palmer, what are you trying to do to us? This is our third on our line, bro. What the hell, man? Yo.
He sometimes hops in my DMs to talk about stuff. Like he still very much cares about this industry.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, sometimes I'll tweet something and he'll be like, "Oh man, like I agree," or just so like he still cares about it, and I do agree that I wish he had more to do it, because I think a lot of the things he thinks about XR align with how I think, because I think he would be pushing the higher end more if he was.
Do you
still
think
at
he's
that.
ever
And
gonna
I
get
think that's
back into
another
it?
reason why they kicked him out. At this point, no. I think
No?
what he's doing now is so profitable for him. Like it would be kind of like careers. Like I don't know. I think he's very.
I feel like he'll
successful right now,
eventually
so
go back
it's
to it, though. I feel like it's that journey for people. Like you're doing
old age
something
thing.
else. Well, yeah, you know, you're doing something else, but then you always go back to your passions, right? Like I know a bunch of
Yeah.
people that are older, like even like a bunch of other people that like some friends that I know that even like one of my friends that worked in Hollywood, for example, for a while, but then they're like, oh, this is fun, but I want to do stuff that I'm actually into, like some funner stuff. Like let's go work for VRChat. I love VR. Or like let's do something fun. So I feel like he's
Yeah.
eventually gonna come back to this stuff, like way in the future. But like it will take him a bit.
Yeah, it would be really interesting. I really do think it would have to be. I'm not as confident because I think Anduril, what he's doing at Anduril is making a lot more money than what he did
You
even
really think?
selling Oculus.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah. He definitely kickstarted this whole thing again and made
This is why we call him the Godfather of VR.
Zuckerberg interested.
Made VR headsets.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
he made VR headsets out of his mom's basement. Okay, that's legendary.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool.
That's true VR chatter moment.
Yeah.
No, not really, but sorry. But yeah, no, I agree. But we need more of that, I think, as well in VR.
Just more like I wouldn't say prodigies, so to say, but like more people that are super passionate, that want to make things, that want to make a change in the industry, right? Do you think we need a lot more like VR engineers, more like engineer people that are inspired, like kind of like Palmer, or like other people that are like, oh, I want to make things for VR. I want to make like new HMD technology or some other like display technology.
I think we actually have a lot, but my fear with a lot of people that are engineers in this hardware industry is we have a bit too many researchers and not enough people that are like able to take things to products or willing to. Like there's a lot of people who will research the most interesting things, and then you realize that's literally impossible to like mass produce and like
Yeah,
consumers
true.
actually use and like benefit out of.
Would you
and
say-
stuff. So it's like
Yeah. Would you say it was the same situation as the whole like Lionel Anton situation with the whole like Star VR? Because that was the whole thing with the whole like, oh, we could do it with the whole like wide FOV headsets, but very early on, and that could have been something, but then everything kind of fell through.
So, I don't even think that was a researcher versus productization thing. I think that was a distorted market thing. Whereas there were some companies who made the first wave of VR act like it was going to blow up to an extent that was kind of unrealistic with any projections at the time. And that made a lot of companies think like, hey, we can make this thing and it will be profitable. And then as time goes on and the reality of where the actual market came out, those companies were like, wait a minute, we don't want to spend millions of dollars to rev up manufacturing lines for something that won't actually make any of that money back. I think Star VR was probably more on that side rather than anything. So, and there's so many stories like that. Not even just Star VR. There are soon with the industry. You have to do a lot of research of like the timelines and historical stuff of VR and hardware, and like that 2016 through 2019 time is like depressing story after depressing story because of that like whole scenario I'm talking about. Not just Star VR, but many many things like
stories,
that, so.
many VR stories in our industry. Going back to more Vision Pro stuff, I feel that like it was. Do you think this technology is ahead of its time ish, like, or were like the Vision Pro some of the features and stuff, or do you think it's like right here and it's gonna get better?
Vive, when I tried the Vive, all I could think about was, wow, this could be made for this. This is the future of this technology. This is what will happen in like a year from now. Like imagine this software coming out in 2 years from now for this headset. And none of that really panned out back then. And with Vision Pro, I actually, for the first time since the Vive, have felt those same feelings. It's been a while since I've had those emotions about things and like all these like ideas stirring in my brain. But I'm kind of have like PTSD from back then, to where it's like I don't think the current gen of the okay, so Vision Pro software is fantastic. It's like amazing. Like it works so well. Like the whole look around and pinch thing, like that is novel and
I've
so
tried
useful
it.
for
It's
computing.
seamless,
I feel
almost. It's great. I love it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I wish it gets to I wish that alone gets to a point where like I don't have to use a mouse anymore, because like there's still like I would say like a 90% accuracy. Like sometimes you miss things, and that might be a UI choice or like the accuracy of the cameras, but like once that gets like 99.9% accurate, that is a game changer for me. Like I think that's super valuable. But I am very nervous to say it might actually be ahead of its time. Like I think the software is really good, and it's like a fantastic hardware and everything put together. But I think it's not going to resonate with people yet. I think for the mass majority of people, it's still not going to resonate. They need more of these things to be built out, even the software side. Like, I think Vision OS is so ahead of Quest operating system and Steam VR, but there's still way more that they need to add and tweak with Vision OS to even get past that point even further. I think ahead of its time in some ways, but like still not there yet in other ways. So yeah,
I'm excited to see where Apple goes with their VR technology and all that. Aren't you? Oh, I'm so excited.
They're the only company I think that could get away with this $3,500 headset for sure. So that's like another good thing about it. Like
like it's Apple. I feel like
every other...
if any company would release a really expensive VR product, Apple makes sense because, okay, no offense, but it's Apple and they often release really expensive products, and half the meme is like, oh, it's Apple, it's going to be expensive. Yeah, but.
Yeah, what, the monitor stand, the $1,000 monitor stand or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah, no, that thing? Holy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, only Apple could do this, but Apple is also going to be the catalyst for a lot of these technologies to make it to other products more seriously. And even the Gen 2, like the industry thinks that the Gen 2 Vision Pro will not come out for another 3 years. There might be a cheaper model coming out between now and that 3-year mark, but the rumors about the second gen is the display technology. Like we're already talking about, wow, this micro OLED display is incredible. Like it's so like high resolution, vivid, whatever.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem with the display is it's actually not bright enough, because when I move my head looking at my monitors, I see like a little bit of blurring going on. And the reason why you see that blur is it's called persistence. It's not low enough of persistence where they basically... So the headset you're wearing right now, everyone, there's some people in the audience you can't see, but like everyone that's wearing a headset, you are only probably seeing 10%. Your displays on your eyes are only lighting up for 10% of the entire image. The rest, they're inserting a black. But your eyes don't notice that. They basically round all the 10% of each frame together. So when you move your head, it looks very smooth. And to do that, because you're only running it at 10% of the image, you only get 10% of the brightness of the actual display. So you might have a 5,000 nit display, but you get 10% of that, you're at 500. And then you have the optics pancake optics are not very efficient. You lose a lot of light is what I'm saying. And Apple's made the hard choice where they have very novel displays and like kind of the best there is. But they're still not bright enough to like get past that like kind of persistence blur that me and some other people notice about the headset. So like there's a display technology that Samsung's building out that apparently Vision Pro 2 is targeting that technology. It's even harder, even harder to make than displays that are currently in the Vision Pro 1. And you can't get that made unless you have a $3,500 crazy flagship tier project, because otherwise there's no market or reason for people like companies like Apple to invest in expensive novel technologies like that. So I'm grateful. I'm not an Apple shill or fan. I even still with the Vision Pro, I use my Windows PC connected to it. I'm actually thinking about changing it to Linux because there's some things about Windows that have been pissing me off majorly. But
I've heard a lot of people say that with Windows, some people are switching over.
Dude, it's getting so bad. Like, I swear to God, I feel like every update, something else breaks, and like, it's a really pain in the butt for me. Especially because I'm also running the headset headless, or my computer headless, because it doesn't have a monitor plugged in, and there's a lot of bugs with Windows running it as a headless system like that I've had to run into and solve.
And Linux
like,
works better with that, right?
Linux works way better because Linux, you think about it, Linux do a lot of stuff with servers. Like a lot of servers are running on Linux, so a lot of these servers aren't plugged into monitors. So a lot of them are actually developed. A lot of the software stack is developed with the headless in mind. So it is better for that, and I can start getting into more like open source software that's already building like VR and XR systems as like a fully headless operating system, which is something I want to do because, like, again, like I only use Windows for some things these days, and if I can get all of that in a more XR focused operating system, because even SteamVR, let's talk about SteamVR for a second.
Okay.
I still love SteamVR overlays. I love looking at my wrist, and in fact, because I know you guys can't see, but I see my real life hand in SteamVR, and I have the XS overlay, which is a little wrist, like a little wrist UI pops up. And seeing that over my real life hand kind of like adds something to that like UI element. It's kind of an interesting level of immersion. And like I'm seeing all these things in SteamVR that are limited by Windows as well. That frustrates me greatly because they have to like use some of the systems that are built into the kernel. They can't really add that many other systems than what's there. Like it's unfortunate to be like so passionate about XR and VR and AR headsets and then be limited by a operating system that has all of my high compute stuff, extremely high compute when you do render videos, do stuff in like Blender, Unity, or whatever, but it's not built for XR, and I want all of that. It's not there yet. Crazy. I'm basically crazy, is what I'm saying. I'm insane.
Aren't we all, Brad?
I'm crazy.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Run the room with rats.
I mean, to an extent, I feel like any creative person, to an extent, is crazy to some degree or some point.
You have to be insane to do any of this stuff, or even probably be in VR. But that's a whole other topic. So
going off that a little bit, like to be overly or super like overly creative. Do you think like is some sort of insanity needed?
Absolutely, because I think insanity makes you see the world differently, and I think that difference is what creative is, right? I think that is what creativity is the difference of how you see the world compared to the normal everyday average person, which making that average person leave their comfort zone is creativity. So yeah, you need to be crazy, you need to be a little bit insane to make people do that.
To be the odd one out, to be more creative, that is some sort of insanity because you are different than the average crowd.
Yeah, like and it's not to say that like everyone thinks differently, but like getting something out there that makes people think profound things is a really hard thing to do. And I think the people who do that, like I can't think of anyone, like even the most successful YouTubers who make the most profound content or like the most interesting, diverse content on the platform, you always like look at their personal life, and a lot of them do have like they might have. I don't want to get too into this, but a lot of them do have like mental problems that they like publicly talk about and like suffer from. So it's like there is, I really do think, a correlation there, because suffering is humanity, and going through suffering makes you show the humanity to people who have kind of left that sort of primal stuff going on that happens in the back of our brain, and we're kind of scared to see and talk about and stuff. So
Heck yeah, heck yeah. This has been great. You got any more Vision Pro stuff or other things you want to kind of throw out there before we?
honestly, I wish I did, but like I think we've covered a lot of the stuff I want to talk about. Definitely. I mean, I have a lot, dude. This video I have to make this week. Like, I don't know, man. That's gonna be one of the most tough videos of my career. Making like it, not from like a, it's gonna be hard to do, but like
It's gonna be a lot.
It's gonna be a long one, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. So yeah, some of the stuff we talked about here, and I'm glad I did that like sort of thing here and talk to you about it. But
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about. There's still way more, but not for this show.
Of course. Well, yeah, this was amazing. I had a blast again. We should honestly, probably. We're doing a third.
Yeah, I think around the fall
Yeah.
will be crazy again for VR.
Heck yeah. I will see you all in the next KaiyoCast episode. Have a good one. Bye.